at the prestigious business gala. The crowd swarmed to congratulate my arch-rival Mu Xingyang, all because he landed the lead role in director Jing's latest masterpiece. But the ultimate irony was that the person who stripped me of that lead role was none other than my secret wife of 5 years, Lin Qingshui. Married for 5 years. I genuinely believed I was the treasure of Lin Qingshui's heart. But the moment her white moonlight returned to the country, I realized I was nothing more than a pathetic substitute to pave a smooth path for her true love. She sabotaged my roles and severed my professional resources. She even fell for a trap self-directed by her white moonlight, coldly ordering me to get on my knees and apologize, while she expected me to break down as usual and beg for her mercy. I simply stared back at her with a hollow gaze, addressing the system in my mind. System, I want to return to my original world. To my shock, the system shrieked, "Host, Lin Qingshui's affection value for you is already at 99 till. You're only 1 point away from granting your wish." I shook my head bitterly. To swap me out for Mu Xingyang as the lead, Qingshui didn't hesitate to increase her investment tenfold. Now she clings to Mu Xingyang's side every waking second, her eyes brimming with nothing but adoration for him. That final point is something I will never ever obtain. The system sighed and submitted the request. Understood, host. Please wait patiently for extraction. In the cold night wind, my thoughts drifted to the past. I never truly belonged to this world. When I first transmigrated here, the system informed me that if I could maximize someone's favorability to 100, I could return home with 1 wish granted. I initially tried to win over my own parents, but they actually tried to sell me for cash to a wealthy merchant with twisted dark fetishes. Just as I was cornered by the merchant falling into despair, a delicate, pale hand suddenly yanked me behind safety. A woman in a sharp white western suit stood frostily in front of me as a shield. She was Haishi City's legendary entertainment mogul, Lin Qingshui, with just a single sharp glare. She had her assistant settle the entire mess. Then she simply whisked me away. Before departing, she handed me her card, her icy elegant features softening into a surprisingly tender smile. "I own an entertainment agency," she said. "Consider joining us." Only after signing did I realize the truth. In the vast empire of Lin's entertainment, I was the solitary artist on the roster. Lin Qingshui showered me with every resource, hiring elite mentors to refine my craft. When I finally pressed her for the reason why, she merely caressed my cheek gently and whispered, "Some people require only a single glance to make you never want to let go." Right after my silver screen debut premiered, Lin Qingshui proposed to me. It was a spectacle. A grand, breathtaking proposal meant only for me. The room was carpeted in rare imported roses, and Lin Qingshui stood there in a pristine white gown, sliding a $200 million ring onto my finger. Then, a kaleidoscope of fireworks ignited the sky just for us, before the floor-to-ceiling windows. We shared a desperate kiss under the shimmering lights, vowing ourselves to eternity. The usually frigid Lin Qingshui was feral that night, breathlessly calling me husband over and over. With such raw devotion and such haunting depth, I was certain our love was the real deal, so I chose her as my ultimate target. Lin Qingshui's favorability soared to 99 in no time, but that final elusive fatal point remained frozen for 5 entire years. I was utterly baffled by the deadlock, pouring my entire soul into loving her. I even began to hesitate. Did I truly want to leave once the mission was over? Until that one day, I canceled my schedule to surprise her at home. As I stepped into the foyer, the voices of my parents drifted toward me. "Mu Xingchen is nothing but a stand-in. Now that our dear Xingyang is back, you can't let him suffer any grievances." I froze in my tracks, paralyzed. Then I heard the voice of my wife Lin Qingshui. Back then, Mu Xingyang vanished without a word. That was the only reason I kept a substitute by my side. A clear melodic male voice then echoed, "Qingshui, I'm exhausted. I want to come back to you." I instinctively stepped forward, only to witness Lin Qingshui's face, overflowing with pure heartache as she gazed at that man. "Xingyang, I started this agency for you. Now come home and let's make your dreams a reality." Mu Xingyang feigned a look of sorrow. "But you're married." To my horror, Lin Qingshui blurted out without hesitation, "Do you still not understand how I feel? Husbands are replaceable, but there is only one Xingyang in this entire world." I watched in deathly silence as Lin Qingshui pulled Mu Xingyang into her embrace, witnessing their intense, affectionate gaze. Only then did the brutal truth finally dawn on me. During those nights of passion, the nickname she moaned wasn't my Qing, but rather the Xing in Mu Xingyang. The woman I thought was my savior had actually orchestrated a calculated deception from the start. No wonder that final point was always out of my reach. I suddenly felt like an absolute laughingstock, a mere stand-in, delusional enough to hope for 100% of her love. A moment later, Mu's parents excitedly proposed. "Since Xingyang is back, you two can finally rekindle your old flame." The atmosphere inside was warm and harmonious, but my heart had turned to ice. Unable to bear another second of it, I fled in utter humiliation. It wasn't until the dead of night that I found the courage to return seeking answers. Yet Lin Qingshui never even came home that night. The next morning, as I arrived at the office, I saw Lin Qingshui walking in while tightly holding Mu Xingyang's hand. She announced to the entire room, Mu Xingyang is our agency's newest talent, and he will be our primary focus from this point on. Mu Xingyang smirked at me with a triumphant curl of his lip, throwing a provocative jab, my dear little brother. Thank you so much for looking after Qingshui in my absence. It was a blatant public slap in the face, proclaiming that Mu Xingchen was nothing but a backup. Every single pair of eyes in the room instantly locked onto Lin Qingshui awaiting a response. But she didn't offer a single word of denial. Instead, she added fuel to the fire. Your styles clash. And since you're so similar, Xingchen must change his image. Go for a sexy vibe, a boy next door look, or even something edgy. Whatever it takes to stay out of Xingyang's lane. This blatant, unapologetic favoritism sent my heart spiraling into a bottomless abyss. From that moment on, Mu Xingyang used this bias to hijack my ad campaigns, steal my variety show slots, and even snatch my lead roles. When I dared to resist, Lin Qingshui branded me as selfish, before handing my entire career to Mu Xingyang on a platter. Mu Xingyang even demanded my personal manager, and Lin Qingshui agreed without a second thought. Xingchen is basically benched right now anyway, so there's no point wasting valuable manpower on him. Immediately afterward, Lin Qingshui used my poor health as a convenient excuse to silence the growing concern from my fans. Suddenly, a frigid voice snapped me back to the present reality. Xingchen, as Xingyang's family, you should be celebrating his success. Who are you trying to spite by hiding here with that face? The sheer irony of it was suffocating. I replied calmly, I fairly won that audition. Yet you bought the role for someone else. I have every right to be upset. A flicker of guilt crossed Lin Qingshui's face. But Mu Xingyang chose that exact moment to intervene. Biting his lip with feigned hurt, he whined, I see. In your heart, I'm nothing but an outsider to you. I must have done something terrible to upset you. Lin Qingshui's heart immediately bled for him, and her expression toward me hardened instantly. Mu Xingchen, how can you be so cruel to your own flesh and blood? Since your congratulations aren't sincere, then you are no longer welcome at this gala. Go home right now and reflect on your behavior. The words had barely left her mouth when Lin Qingshui, in front of every elite guest, issued a cold formal eviction. She didn't give a damn about my public humiliation, but this time I didn't cry or beg for an explanation. I simply turned away with an indifferent shrug and walked straight out of the banquet hall. My bizarre lack of reaction made Lin Qingshui pause, but Mu Xingyang quickly pulled her away to give another toast. She instantly suppressed that flicker of unease, but the moment I got home, the trending topics exploded. Lin Qingshui and Mu Xingyang, the CEO's sweet romance. Mu Xingchen love and career both withered. One was envied by the entire internet, while the other was mocked as a pathetic rejected third wheel. Yet Lin Qingshui never issued a single clarification, leaving me to drown in the storm of public scrutiny. I darkened the screen and silently printed out a divorce settlement. Since I'm leaving this world for good, I need to make a clean break. Not only will I end this unacknowledged marriage, but I will also delete my household registration, ensuring that Mu Xingchen ceases to exist on this earth. Early the next morning, I finished the application to revoke my identity. The entire process would be finalized in exactly 1 month. I whispered to myself, it's perfect. I'll be departing the day my existence is erased. Departing to where? Lin Qingshui's frigid voice suddenly cut through the air behind me. I turned around, to find her returning after being gone all night, surprisingly with Mu Xingyang in tow. But there was no longer any jealousy in my heart. I simply offered a casual excuse. I just saw a bird flying away through the window. It left. Lin Qingshui actually seemed to sigh in relief. Before mocking me, of course, all your family is right here. Where else could you possibly go? Family, I found the notion absolutely laughable. Just then, Lin Qingshui ordered the servants to pack some luggage. She turned to explain Xingyang just landed that lead role. I'm accompanying him to a few tourist hotspots to maintain his media hype. Mu Xingyang immediately clung to her arm with a smug grin. President Lin really is the perfect boss. Before his words even landed, he let out a soft stage cough. Lin Qingshui grew anxious in an instant, stopping a servant from pouring water. I'll do it myself. How can you not know? Exactly what Brother Xingyang likes to drink. In the next heartbeat, that woman who never lifted a finger was busy in the kitchen brewing herbal tea with astragalus and ophiupagon, carefully cooling it to the perfect temperature. Her seamless practice movements stung my eyes. It was clear she did this for him all the time. Yet, such tender concern was a luxury I was never afforded. Back when Lin's entertainment had only one artist, me, Lin Qingshui claimed professional matters required professional experts, and she never bothered to interfere. But the moment Mu Xingyang joined the roster, she insisted on handling every trivial detail herself. The high and mighty CEO became more attentive than any secretary. Right then, Mu Xingyang rubbed his stomach with a smirk. The water is so sweet. Lin Qingshui instantly caught his drift. Hungry, aren't you? I'll go whip up your favorite soft-boiled eggs. Watching her retreat in those designer heels, I recalled how I once suggested we cook a meal together. only for her to reject me claiming she loathed kitchen fumes, and that a CEO had no business playing chef. It turns out she didn't hate cooking. She just hated cooking for me. I suppose this is the brutal line between love and indifference. While I was lost in thought, Musing Yang shed his mask, his eyes dripping with malice. Musing-chin, aren't you jealous? Too bad you're just a cheap substitute, destined to never taste Qingshui's true affection. She told me you're boring and stiff, and that I'm the only one who truly understands her soul. And yet, my heart remained strangely still. I actually found myself smiling. If you're that desperate to take my place, I said coldly, tell her to bring me the divorce papers. A flicker of guilt flashed in Musing Yang's eyes, followed by a sneer. She definitely will. But since you've occupied my spot for so long, I think I'll collect a little interest today. The words had barely left his lips when Musing Yang's expression shifted to pure panic, pulling a total pick-me act. Xingchen, please don't be angry. King Shui and I were just discussing the script last night. If you're mad, take it out on me. At the exact moment Lin Qingshuo appeared with the plate of eggs, Musing Yang violently threw himself to the ground. His ankle ballooned with a nasty swelling instantly. Musing-chen, what did you do to brother Xingyang? Lin Qingshui's fury ignited in a split second. She hurled the plate in her hand directly at my face. The porcelain shattered against my forehead. Scalding yolk mingled with fresh blood trickling down and blurring my vision. I spoke softly, my soul a wasteland of sorrow. I didn't push him. I assumed she at least understood my character, but she lacked even the most fundamental shred of trust. Witnessing my blood-streaked and battered face, Lin Qingshuo felt a sudden, inexplicable pang of guilt. She instinctively reached out to wipe the blood away, but in that very heartbeat, Qingshuo, my leg hurts so much. I think it's broken. Musing Yang choked back sobs, grabbing her. Don't blame Xingchen. He only did this because he's suffering. At the end of the day, it's all my fault. Musing Yang's masterful display of pick-me energy caused Lin Qingshui's heart to melt with pity. She gazed at Musing Yang with agonizing concern. But when she turned her eyes back toward me, there wasn't a single degree of warmth left. Xingyang is right. How can being in love be a crime? The only mistake is the person who doesn't belong. Then, she coldly commanded Musing-chen kneel and apologize to Xingyang. And then we will let this matter drop. Lin Qingshuo, I told you, I didn't push him. The words had barely left my lips when Musing Yang hissed in manufactured agony, forget it. Qingshu, I can endure a little humiliation for you. It hurts so bad. What if my leg is actually snapped? Lin Qingshu spiraled into a total panic. Xingyang, your injury is severe. I'm taking you to the hospital right now. She carefully helped Musing Yang up, then suddenly lashed out, kicking me with brutal force. Stay on your knees, you owe Xingyang an apology, and I'll collect it the moment I return. The sharp point of her high heel struck true, sending me crashing down defenselessly. My knees slammed directly into the jagged porcelain shards. A searing white-hot pain shot through me, causing my eyes to burn with involuntary tears. Lin Qingshui's pace faltered for a second, a flicker of genuine regret dancing in her eyes. But before she could speak, Musing Yang clung to her even tighter, tears streaming down his face in a constant flow. I'm so jealous of Xingchen's incredible acting skills. He can turn on the waterworks at the drop of a hat. I'm just not that gifted. I still struggle to pull off a convincing crying scene. Qingshuo, I'm so lucky to have you. Lin Qingshuo instantly snapped back to her senses. He was, after all, an award-winning actor renowned for his craft. This was just another performance to fish for sympathy. She had nearly fallen for his deceptive little act. Musing Chen dropped the calculated theatrics. If you dare to provoke Xingyang ever again, I will personally make you pay. She spat out those venomous words with pure loathing, before clutching Musing Yang and walking away without looking back. As I stared at her retreating figure, it felt as if a pair of invisible hands were crushing my heart. When I was first released, she had held me just as tightly, vowing to shield me from the dangers of the world. But now, for the sake of another man, she had personally shoveled me into the abyss. The servants, sensing which way the wind was blowing, scattered and kept their distance like I was a plague. I was left to limp upstairs entirely alone, forced to dress my own bleeding wounds in silence. Meanwhile, the names of Lin Qingshuo and Musing Yang dominated the trending topics once more. She had gone as far as booking an entire hospital floor, summoning a literal army of specialists to examine his leg. The verdict, Musing Yang hadn't sustained a single scratch. Relieved and in high spirits, Lin Qingshui ordered her assistant to launch a massive giveaway on the official site, turning his recovery into a nationwide celebration. Watching netizens flood the comments with, "Thank you, boss's husband," the last flicker of life in my heart finally extinguished. I pulled up my chat and sent a final message, Lin Qingshui, let's get a divorce. Lin Qingshui, who usually took an eternity to reply, actually sent a response within seconds. At that moment, Musing Yang, holding her phone, sneered with utter disdain. Musing-chen, don't think playing hard to get will make Qingshui give a damn about you. A pathetic little substitute like you can't even fathom the heights of our happiness. Why don't you just keep a close eye on the trending page? Lin Qingshui had never allowed me to touch her phone, let alone revealed her passcode to me. It seemed Mu Xingyang was always the golden exception. True to his word, starting the very next day, the public displays of affection between Lin Qingshui and Mu Xingyang completely hijacked the internet, checking into viral Instagrammable cafes, snapping intimate selfies on a Ferris wheel, and watching the sunset from a mountain peak. Every single romantic gesture was something I had begged for. Yet she had always treated them with utter contempt. However, I simply scrolled past them with a hollow calm, because I was preoccupied with the final task before my departure, using my own life's tragedy as the blueprint. I drafted a short screenplay. I titled it, "The Stars Are No Longer Lonely." Before I vanished, I wanted to leave behind something. Anything that held a shred of meaning to me. I worked with a ruthless efficiency, quickly assembling a production crew. I was ready to pack my bags and head to the set immediately. But the moment I walked through the door, I found the house full. Lin Qingshui and Mu Xingyang, and even my cold-blooded parents were all gathered there. Even more bizarrely, they had completely flipped the script, greeting me with a fake forced kindness and a dinner invite. Then Lin Qingshui handed me a small box. "I saw this on our trip and thought it suited you." I recognized it instantly. That tie clip had already made an appearance on the trending page. Mu Xingyang had mentioned he liked the brand once, and Lin Qingshui had practically bought out the entire store, and this specific one. It was the only piece Mu Xingyang had rejected as trash. Mu Xingyang watched me with a mocking, sneering gaze, his eyes overflowing with a sense of superiority. "What's wrong? Don't you like it?" Lin Qingshui's face hardened into a mask of ice. "Are you seriously being picky now? I remember you used to cherish every single thing I gave you." She was right. Back then, I would have treated a dead leaf from her like a diamond. But that was only because I loved the person giving it. Now the gesture just seemed pathetic and laughable. I didn't even bother to argue. I just pocketed the cheap charity with a shrug, my mind already calculating the filming schedule for my script. My eerie composure left both Mu Xingyang and Lin Qingshui completely stunned, despite being dragged on the internet for so long. I wasn't angry, nor was I heartbroken. It was as if I truly didn't give a damn anymore. Lin Qingshui felt a sudden sharp pang of unease in her chest, a nagging feeling that something was fundamentally wrong, just as she opened her mouth to interrogate me. Mu Xingyang gave her sleeve a sharp tug, giving her a meaningful, pointed look. Only then did Lin Qingshui remember their real agenda today. Her gaze shifted back toward me, sharp and piercing. She looked me dead in the eye and spoke with a chilling indifference. "That short drama you're prepping? Yang is really fond of it. Step aside and let him have it this time." My eyes widened in absolute sheer disbelief. I've surrendered every past resource to him. But this project is my own blood and sweat, my own script. I assembled this team with my own hands. Is there nothing Mu Xingyang won't try to steal? Seeing my hesitation, my biased parents immediately began to pile on the pressure. "It's such a trivial matter, just agree to it already. Stop trying to compete with your brother for everything. Xingyang has suffered so much hardship, as his family helping him realize his dreams is only natural." I let out a sharp, breathless laugh, my lips curling into a mocking, bitter sneer. Whatever hardships he faced, I didn't cause them. To a creator, a script is like their own child. I will not hand it over. Without warning, Mu Xingyang's eyes dropped, adopting the persona of a victimized saint. I knew my little brother despised me. Perhaps I should never have come back, he sobbed, turning to flee, only for Lin Qingshui to catch him firmly by the arm. Her eyes were forged from pure frost, as she glared at me with murderous intent. Xingyang had industry experts review that script. It has massive potential. Therefore, it belongs to him. You are an artist under this agency. You will follow orders, or I'll exercise my right to blackball you indefinitely. I met her gaze with a spine of steel. Fine. Go ahead, blackball me. Realizing I was no longer a pushover, my parents grew frantic. "Qingshui, don't bother being polite with this brat. We know exactly what makes him tick. Leave him to us. Just you watch. In a moment, he'll be crying and begging Xingyang to take that show." In the next heartbeat, my parents began barking orders at the servants. "Go outside and gather every insect you can find. Cockroaches, moths, caterpillars, the more the better." Mu Xingchen is absolutely terrified of them. A violent shiver racked my entire body. Traumatic memories long buried suddenly came rushing back. In the past, whenever I showed even a hint of defiance, they would capture all sorts of revolting live creatures to torment me. The servants looked troubled, murmuring, "The house is spotless. We can't find those things on such short notice." But Lin Qingshui chimed in eagerly, "Then go outside and hunt for them. I don't care how much trouble it is, find them." Mu Xingyang leaned in close to her, his eyes gleaming with a malicious spark. "Qingshui, you really are far too good to me." Gazing at these people united in their hatred toward me, I suddenly realized there was no point in fighting anymore. This screenplay, it was originally written as a tribute to my love for Lin Qingshui, but now the reality has finally set in. Even with a 99-point affection rating, I am ultimately nothing more than a worthless substitute. A ruined script isn't worth saving. I don't even want the woman anymore, rather than being coerced and suffering at their hands. It's better to just let it all go. I'll do it, I agree. I finally relented. This should have been a moment of celebration for them. Yet Mu Xingyang remained unsatisfied. Xingchen, you just called this script your child. And now you're giving it up so easily. You aren't plotting something wicked, are you? Lin Qingshu added her own sharp warning. If you have any schemes, you'd better spit them out now. Don't you dare pull any more of your pathetic stunts. This was the absolute height of humiliation. Then, remembering the unsigned divorce papers, an idea flashed through my mind. I decided to counterattack. Of course, I have conditions. If you want my work for Xingyang, then you have to pay up, without missing a beat. I rattled off a long list of real estate and commercial properties, challenging Lin Qingxue directly. Since you care so deeply for my dear brother, trading these trifles for the script he loves so much, surely you wouldn't be stingy, right? That one sentence effectively blocked any exit for Lin Qingxue. Of course I'm willing. Anything that can be settled with money is no problem at all. With a single phone call, her secretary arrived bearing a thick stack of transfer agreements. In that crucial moment, I stepped forward to accept the documents, covertly sliding the divorce settlement into the pile. Watching Lin Qingxue prepare to sign, Mu Xingyang's heart was practically bleeding. Qingxue spending this much on a single script? Is it worth it? He was just habitually trying to gatekeep my things. To his surprise, Lin Qingxue didn't even blink as she prepared to dump hundreds of millions in assets. But Lin Qingxue completely misread his intent. She tapped his chest playfully. You silly boy. Of course it's worth it. If it makes my Yang happy, it's worth every penny. With that, she began flipping through and signing each document. As she approached the hidden divorce settlement, my heart skipped a nervous beat. At that exact moment, Lin Qingxue suddenly jerked her head up. She caught my tense expression, and that bizarre sense of dread washed over her again. It was as if by finishing these papers, she would lose something precious forever. She flipped back a page, instinctively wanting to scrutinize the contents. I couldn't let any complications arise now, so I immediately provoked her, regretting the price tag already. I thought your brother was worth it. The taunt worked like a charm. In Lin Qingshue's eyes, a flash of pure mockery appeared. She abandoned her search and resumed signing. Mu Xingchen, I used to think you were above all this petty greed. I guess you're just as shallow as the rest. This sudden avarice of yours is truly repulsive. The moment those words left her lips, she scrawled her name on the final document. I didn't give her a second of my time. I grabbed the folder and headed for the door. Lin Qingshue's heart inexplicably tightened. She felt certain I was hiding a massive secret. She moved to chase after me for answers. But Mu Xingyang lunged forward to stop her. Thank you, Qingxue. Since he's so repulsive, why let him ruin our mood? Let's go out for a celebratory dinner, okay? He was secretly hardening his resolve. He had to fully claim Lin Qingxue tonight, ideally if he could secure a child. His position as the son-in-law of the Lin family would be ironclad. In the days that followed, Lin Qingxue was preoccupied with Mu Xingyang's production, while I found myself busier than ever. First, I delivered the divorce papers to the Civil Affairs Bureau, immediately after I liquidated every single one of those properties, funneling the cash into the Xingchen Charity Foundation. Consider it a way to accumulate some karma for myself, since I failed the mission in this world. Once I transmigrate back to my original reality, I'll have to face my terminally ill and broken body. I wanted to cherish every second of being able to run and jump. On my final day, I went sailing to watch the gulls, but a sudden call from Lin Qingshue's assistant dragged me forcibly back into the abyss. Assistant Wang claimed Lin Qingshui demanded I attend a dinner, to discuss a role in a new blockbuster. I didn't even hesitate before refusing, but Assistant Wang resorted to a blatant threat. The CEO said to play nice first, but she'll use force if needed. If you don't comply, I'll have no choice but to... I let out a bitter laugh, recalling the scene where I was forced to surrender my script. I remembered my very first meeting with Lin Qingshui. It was at a business dinner just like this. Fine, let it end exactly where it all began. However, I never expected what happened next. The moment I pushed open the door to the private suite, Mu Xingyang was the only person waiting inside. Mu Xingyang immediately launched into a taunt Mu Xingchen. Just how much longer do you plan on clinging to Qingshui? I cut him off frostily. You went through all this trouble just to tell me that. Of course, not just that. Mu Xingyang gave a chilling, wicked smirk, the malice in his eyes like a viper baring its fangs. Rather than waiting for you to step down, it's much safer for me to, personally, kick you out of the picture. The words had barely left his lips when a burly muscular thug burst into the room. He lightly grabbed Mu Xingyang's wrist, and in the next heartbeat, Mu Xingyang erupted into a blood-curdling scream. Please don't do this to me. I've only ever kept my feelings for Qingshui locked away in my heart. I never wanted to compete with you. Right at that moment, the door was kicked open with a violent crash. Lin Qingshui rushed in, her eyes bloodshot. Let him go. Seeing Lin Qingshui, the thug immediately released his grip. Mu Xingyang instantly collapsed into her arms, sobbing uncontrollably. Qingshui, thank God you came to save me. Xingchen asked me out for dinner, but I had no idea he loathed me this much. He tried to destroy me using such a method. I instinctively tried to defend myself. It was. Assistant Wang told me to attend this meeting, but Assistant Wang standing nearby looked utterly shocked. I did no such thing. I only take orders from President Lin. Without her command, I would never dare act. The warmth in Lin Qingshui's eyes instantly plummeted to absolute zero. She didn't even bother to investigate further, merely staring at me with pure unadulterated loathing. Is your intolerance for him really this extreme? Is the extreme to use such low bottom tier tactics? I warned you before. If you provoked him again, I wouldn't show any mercy. She pulled Mu Xingyang into a protective embrace, then issued a chilling command to the burly thug. Whatever you intended to do to him, do it to Mu Xingchen instead. Hearing that, I stared at Lin Qingshui in sheer disbelief. I could accept her not loving me, using me as a pawn or even doubting me, but I never imagined she would personally authorize others to humiliate and degrade me. The man behind me exhaled a foul, wretched breath. I argued in a panicked frenzy, you can't do this to me, but Lin Qingshui looked down at me as if I were a mere insect. So now you know fear. You still haven't apologized for pushing Yang Yang last time. Mu Xingyang's eyes brimmed with fake tears, yet his lips curled into a triumphant, wicked smirk. Kneeling to apologize would show some real sincerity. I bit my lip so hard it bled, as the unhealed gashes on my knees erupted in a storm of agonizing pain. Yet I was forced to lower myself, kneeling bit by bitter bit. I was wrong. Please, forgive me. Just let me go. However, Lin Qingshui merely held Mu Xingyang close, casually enjoying the sight of my absolute breakdown. She smirked coldly. An apology is one thing, but a lesson is another. Provoking Brother Xingyang comes with a hefty price. In the next heartbeat, the thug violently grabbed my ankles, dragging me away across the floor like a stray dog. As the door slammed shut, I caught one last glimpse of Lin Qingshui's cold retreating back, and Mu Xingyang's smug predatory grin. Despair submerged me in an instant. I was only 2 hours away from my final departure. Why did she have to choose this exact moment to hurl me straight into hell? I struggled with every fiber of my being, only to be met with a brutal bone-shaking slap from the thug. My vision exploded into 1,000 stars. Just as I thought the end had come, the system's voice suddenly resonated. Host. Crisis level critical. Emergency protocols activated. Upon the death of this physical vessel, you may depart ahead of schedule. My gaze immediately locked onto the wide open window. Swallowing my disgust, I smiled at the man and whispered, "Don't be so impatient. I'll do it myself." As expected, the man was intrigued by my words, and actually loosened his iron grip. I slowly pushed myself up, retreating step by agonizing step, until my spine pressed against the freezing window frame. In that singular heartbeat, I threw myself backward with a tragic final resolve. My body plummeted from the window of the 23rd floor. The wind roared like a beast in my ears. Falling from this height, it's going to be excruciating, isn't it? Yet I felt only a flicker of profound relief. No matter the pain, it could never surpass the scars Lin Qingshui carved into my soul. I remembered how she once held me, calling me her star, vowing that I was the most precious light in her life. But now it's all just a heap of lies. In the split second before I hit the pavement, I thought I heard Lin Qingshui's soul-shattering scream. Even more surreal, I heard the system gasping in shock. Lin Qingshui's affection value. It has reached 100% at this very moment. The mission is complete. Impossible. This must be a final cruel hallucination. With a deafening crash, the starlight vanished. I shuttered my eyes, plunging into the infinite darkness. Meanwhile, Lin Qingshui escorted Mu Xingyang away, showering him with comfort the entire way. But Mu Xingyang chose that exact second to act as if he were still paralyzed by fear. "Qingshu, my legs are shaking so much. I can't walk." Hearing this, Lin Qingshu stepped forward and wrapped her arm around his waist. Before sliding into the car together, Mu Xingyang's chest heaved with shallow breaths as he suggestively exhaled against her neck. However, Lin Qingshui remained completely unfazed, simply uttering a cold command, "Assistant Wang." A second later, the assistant handed over the tablet, displaying the high-definition surveillance from the suite. The footage showed the man dragging me by my legs, as I struggled desperately against his iron grip. Mu Xingyang was reveling in the sight, yet he feigned a pitying tone. "Maybe we should stop. He is your husband after all. If he ends up tainted, he won't be worthy of you anymore." He intentionally used the word tainted to test her reaction, but Lin Qingshui's face remained a mask of calm, her dark eyes bottomless. "It won't go that far. I have control." She had already briefed that man beforehand. This was merely a minor punishment for me, a way to curb my jealousy and end my defiance. Seeing her so certain of the situation, Mu Xingyang let out a silent mocking sneer. She thought this was just a harmless scare. But she was clueless to the truth. That man had been turned by his bribes long ago. In just a few more moments, I would be utterly destroyed. Mu Xingyang recalled his repeated attempts to rekindle their flame, and though Lin Qingshui was obedient to his every whim, she still maintained a strange distance from him, Until once, when he complained while fueled by alcohol, Lin Qingshu had violently shoved him away, blurting out, Jing Chen was clean when he came to me. He hasn't done anything wrong. So I can't just throw him away. In that heartbeat, Mu Xingyang understood everything. Lin Qingshu resented the fact that after he vanished, he had been with other women. She found him impure. And so, he decided to make me the substitute filthier than he ever was. He was certain that once that happened, Lin Qingshui would finally discard me and return to his arms for good. Suddenly, as I fought back in the video, the man on the screen snapped, viciously delivering a bone-shaking slap to my face. My cheek ballooned with a horrific swelling instantly, and a flicker of genuine anxiety crossed Lin Qingshui's eyes. She sensed a lingering dread that things were spiraling out of control. A moment of hesitation flickered as she prepared to exit the car. But in that exact heartbeat, Mu Xingyang frantically seized her arm. "Thank you, Qingshui," he uttered with a trembling, choked voice. "Thank you for finally standing up for me. That man, he struck me earlier too. If you hadn't come to my rescue, I'm the one who would be enduring that nightmare right now." Lin Qingshui's hand, which was already on the door handle, slowly and deliberately let go. At the end of the day, she believed I had crossed the line, and that a harsh lesson was exactly what I deserved. However, as she continued to fixate on the surveillance feed, witnessing my shift from sheer panic to utter hollow despair, watching the tears stream down my face, an inexplicable surge of agitation boiled within her. A sharp stinging pain began to radiate through her chest. She hadn't realized exactly when it happened, but I had slowly become the master of her every emotion. But one thing was certain. She couldn't bear to watch my torment for another second. "Assistant Wang, get over there. This lesson ends now," understood President Lin. Assistant Wang acknowledged the order as the car door swung open, her peripheral vision catching Mu Xingyang's reaction. At that, Mu Xingyang's heart pounded. With sheer desperation, he had meticulously laid this trap. He couldn't let my total destruction slip through his fingers now. He blurted out frantically, "Wait, I want to go with you." Lin Qingshui knit her brows. "To a place like that? Why on earth would you go there?" "Stop being ridiculous." Mu Xingyang merely leaned his head against her shoulder. "I'm just so envious and heartbroken," he sighed. "Jingchen is truly a magnificent talent. Nothing has even happened yet, but his acting is so lifelike. That look of soul-crushing despair? It's as if he's actually being violated. I'm not nearly the actor he is. I want to see his performance in person to learn from him. The pressure is so immense. I don't want to be unworthy of your love." Mu Xingyang's words were like a bucket of ice water, instantly extinguishing every flicker of complicated emotion within Lin Qingshui's soul. Of course. How could she forget that I was a consummate professional? This was all just a cheap theatrical performance. I was the one at fault, yet I remained unrepentant, actually daring to use such petty calculated schemes to manipulate her sympathy and play the victim. A frigid, murderous glint instantly filled Lin Qingshui's eyes. "Assistant Wang, there's no need to go anymore." Then, she subtly dodged Mu Xingyang's lingering touch. "Xingyang, stay right here. The same goes for you." A smirk flickered on Mu Xingyang's lips. As expected, with just a few choice words from him, Lin Qingshui would always fall into line. She would abandon me without a second thought, the pathetic substitute who had stayed by her side for 5 years. In the footage, the man finally lost every shred of reason, and was about to take the final step when suddenly, Mu Xingyang lunged forward and pulled Lin Qingshui into a hug, causing the phone to tumble out of her hand. "Qingshui, why do you keep pushing me away? I was nearly destroyed by Xingchen today. Can't you at least give me some comfort?" Mu Xingyang's objective was crystal clear. He needed to keep Lin Qingshui completely occupied, leaving her no chance to check the surveillance. As long as he stalled for a few more minutes, his twisted master plan would finally be complete. Xingyang let go of me. Lin Qingshui's eyes were brimming with pure repulsion. She shoved Mu Xingyang aside and retrieved her phone. But the moment her gaze returned to the screen, her heart sank into a dark abyss. In the video, I was actually looking at that man and smiling. Mu Xingyang immediately let out a fake shock gasp. "Oh, Xingchen is being so proactive. Qingshu, is this how he normally acts with you?" But this time, Lin Qingshu seemed deaf to his poisonous whispers, her entire being on the verge of exploding with rage. "Mu Xingchen, how dare you do this?" She believed she had the right to punish me, but she could never tolerate even a hint of me wavering or moving on. Fuming, she stormed out of the car. She was going to drag me out of there right now. However, after only taking a few steps toward the entrance, she looked up at the hotel's towering windows and saw a silhouette suddenly plummeting through the air. With just one glance, she knew it was me. I fell face up, plunging straight down from the 23rd floor. In that lightning-fast realization, Lin Qingshu understood that I wasn't being proactive at all. I was choosing a defiant death over a hopeless life. It was as if a sudden violent thunderbolt had struck her, tearing her very soul into jagged pieces. Lin Qingshui lost all reason, sprinting like a madwoman toward the exact spot where I was plummeting. Only one frantic thought consumed her: catch him. I must catch him. She knew that attempting to catch someone falling from the 23rd floor would lead to her arms being utterly shattered, or perhaps even cost her own life on the spot. But her pace didn't falter for a single second. There wasn't a shred of hesitation in her stride. A foreign, overwhelming emotion she had never felt, tightened around her heart like a suffocating net, robbing her of the very ability to breathe. Faintly, she heard a voice echoing affection at 100%, and a notification that the mission was complete. But she had no time to process any of it. She exerted every ounce of strength she possessed, stretching out her arms and racing toward that terminal point. She finally surrendered. She didn't want to test me or doubt me ever again. She was ready to offer me her raw, unshielded heart. However, she was one heartbeat too late. A sickening thud echoed through the air. She watched with wide, horrified eyes as I crashed before her, landing only a single agonizing step away. In that instant, her heart felt like a frozen lake being violently smashed, shattered into a million irreparable shards, and I was truly broken beyond repair right in front of her. Passers-by screamed, some vomited, and others called for help. The entire scene descended into absolute chaotic carnage. But Lin Qingxue was deaf to the world around her, her gaze fixed solely on my mangled, blood-soaked body. She stared at me motionless and hollow, for an eternity before she suddenly broke into a smile. I knew it. Xingchen only ever loved me. He'd rather die than be touched by anyone else. In the next heartbeat, amidst the spreading pool of gore, she lay down right next to my broken remains. She tenderly took hold of my shattered, lifeless hand. Look at how brightly the stars are shining tonight. I'll stay here and watch them with you. The crowd erupted in frantic whispers, recognizing the two individuals almost instantly. The one who jumped was the actor Mu Xingchen, and that's President Lin right beside him. I thought they said she despised him. How could she lose her mind like this from the shock? Look, Mu Xingyang is here. He and President Lin are the real couple, right? This industry is such a toxic mess. Mu Xingyang approached with trembling step. He should have been ecstatic to see me dead, but Lin Qingxue's reaction was bone-chilling. She didn't seem to care about the pooling blood, simply lying there beside my broken body, occasionally pressing tender kisses against my face. He was just a substitute. How could she go this far for him? No matter how loud Mu Xingyang screamed her name, Lin Qingxue remained completely deaf to his voice. Only when the police dragged that thug away did Mu Xingyang exchange a mission-accomplished look with the assistant, finally letting out a breath of relief. But in that exact moment, Lin Qingxue suddenly stood up, her expression slowly eerily returning to normal. Mu Xingyang assumed she had just been momentarily shocked, but Lin Qingxue's next words sent him spiraling into a frozen abyss. Her voice was disturbingly calm, yet every word was soul-crushing. Xingchen is asleep. Find someone to help him up and take him home. She paused for a heartbeat, softly adding, be extremely gentle. Don't let him get hurt. And Xingchen's face is a bit messy. Get a makeup artist to fix him up. I want him to look as handsome as he always was. Immediately after, she issued an even more macabre command. Go and commission a custom ice bed. Xingchen needs to have a long peaceful rest. Assistant Wang stood frozen in absolute shock. But Lin Qingxue snapped coldly, what are you waiting for? Go. After giving her orders, she knelt down with a look of pure tenderness, as if coaxing a throwing a tantrum child. Xingchen, just wait a little longer. We're going home right now. She truly believed that once she confessed her hidden pain, her Xingchen would surely forgive her. He would finally open his eyes and look at her again. Very soon I was brought back to the house. Assistant Wang reported with extreme caution, President Lin. I've looked into it. An ice bed isn't airtight. Only a high-end preservation casket will work, so that the young master can stay by your side forever. To have Xingchen by my side for eternity? Yes. You've done exceptionally well. Assistant Wang finally let out a breath of relief, stepping out to intercept Mu Xingyang at the villa entrance. He couldn't mask his anxiety. Brother Yang, what if President Lin uncovers what we've done? Mu Xingyang frowned, cutting him off. She won't. Just make sure that thug keeps his mouth shut. Qingxue is merely traumatized by the shock. Once we're officially together, she'll forget that substitute. Wang finally relaxed, doubling down on his loyalty. Then I'll be counting on your support in the future, Brother Yang. Mu Xingyang nodded with an air of arrogance, striding into the house one step at a time. He recalled how Lin Qingxue was a literal goddess back in college, yet he purposely treated her with cold indifference. That unique attitude successfully hooked her interest. Under Lin Qingxue's relentless and obsessive pursuit, he eventually played hard to get before finally agreeing. But when the Lin family objected and she was ready to go rogue, willing to live in a cramped rental just for him, he chickened out. Xingyang, from now on we'll be together forever. Aren't you happy? Mu Xingyang stared at that pathetic, dilapidated shack, nearly rolling his eyes to the back of his head. He vanished abroad with a rich heiress that very night. He wasn't about to spend a single second living in poverty. But he never could have predicted that the moment he turned his back, a heartbroken and devastated Lin Qingxue would return home to seize control of her family empire. Mu Xingyang was instantly consumed by regret, desperate to crawl back to her side immediately. Unfortunately, that rich heiress held him by the throat with a scandalous video. trapping him in a gilded cage for 5 long years. It wasn't until half a decade later, when the heiress finally dumped him, that he managed to return to his home country. But the second he touched down, his parents gleefully shared a shocking secret to claim credit. Xingyang, to ensure you'd always have a backup plan. We sent your little brother, Mu Xingchen, to serve as Lin Qingshui's pathetic substitute. We told her that, while your brother is inferior to you in every way, he shares your face. Plus he's soft and easy to manipulate. And later, Lin Qingshui had actually gone as far as marrying that placeholder. But his parents gloated, saying, doesn't this just prove that her devotion to you is absolute? She's so obsessed, she won't even let go of your double. Mu Xingyang was instantly over the moon. Sure enough, Lin Qingshui treated him better than ever upon his return, never once blaming him for his sudden disappearance. However, he soon sensed that something was off. Lin Qingshui's affection seemed strictly superficial. She refused to let their relationship progress physically, and marriage was completely off the table. He had suspected she might have fallen for me, but he quickly dismissed the idea as impossible. After all, whenever they clashed, Lin Qingshui defended him without a moment's hesitation, never once taking my side in any conflict. He convinced himself she was just bitter about his past departure. But now that a mere shadow was dead, she had spiraled into this pathetic state of madness. Mu Xingyang realized his golden opportunity had arrived. This was the perfect moment to force her to face her heart, and fully embrace him once again. With that thought, Mu Xingyang stepped confidently into the living room. The room was now set to a sub-zero temperature, yet Lin Qingshui, clad only in a thin dress, seemed completely immune to the biting cold. She stared silently at her husband resting in the casket. Mu Xingyang suddenly reached out to embrace her, whispering venomously in her ear, Qingshui, Mu Xingchen is dead. His purpose as a stand-in has been fulfilled. It's time for us to go back to the way we were. Before he could even finish his sentence, the previously catatonic Lin Qingshui violently shoved Mu Xingyang away with raw fury. Enough, Xingchen was never a substitute. He is my husband, the only person I have ever truly loved. Her voice was sharp and piercing, carrying a lethal finality he had never heard before. You are not welcome here. Get out. Mu Xingyang clutched his bruised arm in pain, scrambling up from the floor with a face full of indignation. He interrogated her in disbelief. How could you possibly love him? For my sake, you cut off every opportunity he had. You stripped him of his roles just to give them to me. His voice grew more agitated with every word, eventually erupting into a full-blown roar. You spent a fortune in assets just to buy his script for me. You've done all of this for me, and now you're telling me you love him. Don't you find that absolutely pathetic? Without another word, Mu Xingyang recklessly lunged forward again, desperately trying to force a kiss on Lin Qingshui. To his shock, Lin Qingshui's eyes overflowed with pure disgust as she delivered a thunderous, bone-shaking slap to his face. Right here in front of Xingchen. You're already so eager to pull something this vile and utterly shameless. Lin Qingshui's voice was trembling with rage, saturated with a bottomless, agonizing regret. My biggest mistake was letting Xingchen believe for even a second that I didn't love him. Mu Xingyang was left dazed by the strike, blood trickling from the corner of his mouth. Yet Lin Qingshui didn't spare him so much as a glance. Approaching the preservation casket with a hauntingly tender gaze, she finally began to confess the secret she had buried in the deepest, darkest corners of her heart. Xingchen, do you have any idea? Truth is, I fell for you a long time ago without even realizing it. It's just that when Mu Xingyang abandoned me back then, the trauma was too devastating to bear. And since you were delivered to my side in that specific way, I was terrified that your love wasn't genuine. I was too scared to open the gates of my heart. It turns out her feigned kindness toward Mu Xingyang was a calculated plan to elevate him to the highest peak, only to ruthlessly crush him beneath her heel later. She wanted Mu Xingyang to experience the agony of total loss, as a blood debt for his ultimate betrayal 5 years ago. And all those punishments she inflicted on me, they were nothing more than a twisted, desperate trial. The blatant favoritism and the cold shoulder, it was all to see if my love was truly unshakable, or if I would leave her just like he did. She never imagined that to prove my loyalty, I would willingly pay the ultimate price with my life. Only when she witnessed me falling through the sky did Lin Qingshui finally realize the crushing truth. She had been dependent on me all along. She wailed toward the casket, her voice breaking. I was wrong. Xingchen, please just forgive me. Open your eyes and look at me. Tell me you love me one more time, please. Her scorching tears rolled down her cheeks, instantly freezing into ice in the sub-zero room. Hearing this confession, Mu Xingyang stood there paralyzed like a stone statue, as his heart plummeted into a dark, bottomless abyss. It turns out she hadn't loved him for a long time. All she had left for him was a cold thirst for revenge. The one she had truly deeply fallen for was actually his younger brother, Mu Xingchen. Jealousy and humiliation instantly submerged his entire being. Yet he refused to back down. Mu Xingchen was dead, but he was still very much alive. He believed there was still a glimmer of hope for him. So Mu Xingyang immediately pivoted his strategy, attempting to step forward with a show of devoted companionship. But Lin Qingshui merely swept a gaze of pure ice over him, signaling the servants to throw him out like trash. In the next heartbeat, Mu Xingyang was ruthlessly seized and hauled away, to be dumped outside. Silence finally reclaimed the room. The servants, seeing Lin Qingshui in her thin, flimsy dress, couldn't help but urge her to put on some layers. She irritably barked at them to shut their mouths, until a servant whispered with extreme caution, "Even if you aren't cold." "The young master certainly will be. Could you both please put on some warmer clothes?" Lin Qingshui suddenly snapped back to reality. "You're right. Xingchen is dressed so lightly, he must be freezing." She immediately contacted my favorite luxury brand, demanding they deliver every single piece from their latest winter collection right to her doorstep. And just like that, Lin Qingshui spent hours in a frantic state of selection, all just to provide her lover in the casket with the most exquisite outfit she could find. Only then was she finally willing to wrap herself in heavy clothing. But when a servant begged her to rest, saying the master would be heartbroken, Lin Qingshui stood up instantly. "Xingchen, Mo, I'll listen to you. I'll go and get some rest right now." At that moment, everyone realized the truth. The master's supposed words had become her ultimate sacred command. It was so bizarre. President Lin didn't seem to give a damn about him before. Yet now that he's gone, her love is as vast as the ocean. The next day, Lin Qingshui ordered her assistant to make an official post. "Mu Xingchen is my one and only love." She even launched a massive giveaway campaign to ensure the entire world witnessed her declaration. The tide of public opinion flipped in a heartbeat. Mu Xingyang, once the envy of every eye, became the home-wrecking villain overnight. He was blacklisted and cancelled by the entire internet. Lin Qingshui let out a smile of grim satisfaction. Gazing at the preservation casket, she whispered softly, "Qingchen, look. The justice I owed you, I finally paid it back." Afterwards, she began a frantic, obsessive quest for atonement. She scoured the entire city just to track down my absolute favorite osmanthus cakes and beef soup. She even ordered countless limited edition suits and luxury watches, piling them all before the casket. "Qingchen, can you smell how fragrant this is? Please just wake up and take a single bite, okay? And look at all of these. Won't you wear them for me just once?" But no matter how heart-wrenchingly she pleaded, the silent figure within the casket remained motionless. Her composure slowly began to fracture into total hysteria. She started to confess her sins through her tears. "Xingchen, I only gave your resources to Mu Xingyang because I planned to compensate you tenfold once it was all over. When you traded those properties for that screenplay, I agreed so readily, not for him, not for anyone else, but because I'd give you the world if you asked for it. You always thought I was cold and indifferent toward you, but in reality, I changed my phone passcode to your birthday ages ago." She dissolved into uncontrollable sobs, losing all sanity as she tried to shove the casket open. "You won't wake up, yot. Fine, then I'll come to you. We will never be apart again." Right at that moment, a servant entered holding a package. "Miss Ji, there is an official document here addressed to the master." In a flash, Lin Qingshui lunged forward, snatching the envelope and tearing it open in a frenzy. But it turned out to be an official notice from the civil registry. As the contents of the letter came into focus, Lin Qingshui's entire body froze mid-motion on the notification. It clearly stated that Mu Xingchen's request to void his identity was now in effect. And the timestamp of the filing was yesterday, the exact day he plummeted from that building. Identity voided, Lin Qingshui erupted in a blind, furious rage, immediately dialing the registry's number. "You've made a catastrophic mistake. Mu Xingchen is my husband. How could his legal identity possibly be terminated?" But the response from the other end left her instantly speechless. "Ms. Lin, according to our centralized system, 2 weeks ago, you and Mr. Mu successfully processed your divorce." Divorce. Lin Qingshui let out a hollow manic laugh. "Impossible, we just made our relationship public. Our bond is deeper than anyone's." Slamming the phone down, she immediately ordered her assistant to fetch their marriage certificate. She planned to use that proof to demand an explanation. However, shortly after, the assistant returned with news that felt like a localized apocalypse. "President Lin, the official archives show that you and the young master are indeed legally divorced." The assistant even brought back a copy of the settlement, which bore her unmistakable, authentic signature. Lin Qingshui stared at the ink, suddenly recalling the day she forced me to surrender my script, only for me to demand a massive pile of assets in exchange. She had signed a mountain of transfer agreements back then, and my nervous expression now made perfect, crystal clear sense. I had stealthily slipped the divorce papers into that very stack. I had been completely heartbroken and done since that moment. Lin Qingshui began frantically ransacking the house, and it didn't take long for her to find those 2 glaringly green divorce certificates. I hadn't taken either of them with me. That realization hurt her more than anything else could. Remorse surged over her like a suffocating tidal wave. But what she couldn't fathom was why, even after a divorce, I would choose to void my legal identity. For a person to erase their records is equivalent to completely wiping their existence from this world. All those properties and assets I demanded, weren't they all supposed to serve as... Lin Qingxiu suddenly realized while she was searching that the cabinets looked suspiciously hollow. She threw open the safe once more, and sure enough, every single luxury item she had gifted me over the years had vanished without a trace. With trembling hands, she sent her assistant to investigate, and the result sent her spiraling into a frozen abyss. Every single one of those valuables, along with all the businesses I had negotiated away from her, had been donated in their entirety to charitable organizations. I hadn't kept a single thing for myself. Even that $200 million diamond ring I once cherished like life itself, I had donated it without so much as a backward glance. As all the bizarre clues finally connected, Lin Qingxue felt a bone-chilling sense of dread. Everything I had done wasn't just a simple act of suicide. It felt like a meticulously planned departure. I had collected enough disappointment, and had long ago resolved to leave everything behind, erasing my very existence from this world forever. Lin Qingxue clutched her head in agony, as a forgotten detail suddenly exploded in her mind. Back when I plummeted from that building, and she charged toward me, a cold mechanical voice had resonated in her ears. Affection level 100%. Mission accomplished. Following this cryptic clue, Lin Qingxue scoured through countless records, until an unbelievable, yet undeniably vivid realization surfaced. I was apparently bound to some sort of favorability system. The thought shattered Lin Qingxue's heart into pieces, to think she was merely a target for my mission. But then a surge of wild, ecstatic hope flooded her soul. If this hypothesis held any truth, then I had simply transmigrated to another world. I was still alive. And as long as I existed somewhere, there was a chance for them to reunite. Lin Qingxue suddenly pulled herself together, immediately finalizing two desperate decisions. First, preserve the physical body in the ice casket at all costs. It was the only vessel for my potential return. Second, fund a massive research facility with her billions, scouring the globe for supernatural experts, to study the secrets of that mysterious system. She knew the odds were astronomical, but if there was even a 1 in a billion chance, she would never ever surrender, because she was determined to see me again, to tell me face to face just how much she regretted everything. Meanwhile, as I plummeted, I finally lost all consciousness. The next time I pried my eyes open, I felt a soft warm sensation pressing against my hand. It was Mom. She was clutching my hand with everything she had. Dad was holding a medical report, his voice trembling with unprecedented joy. Chenchen's checkup results are finally in. Our precious son is perfectly healthy. I froze in absolute bewilderment. Memories of my past life came rushing back like a flood, clearly in that timeline. The specific report had delivered a terminal diagnosis. I couldn't handle the shock and ran out into the street, which led to the horrific car accident that cost me both of my legs, and left my mother drowning in tears every single day. Dad had liquidated the entire family fortune just to keep me alive, and that was the sole reason. I hadn't hesitated to accept the system's transmigration mission, but the system clearly stated that my wish would only be granted upon a successful conquest. Could it be that at the final second, suddenly, that familiar voice resonated within my mind? Correct. Host a mere second before you departed that world. The target, Lin Qingxue's affection hit 100%, thus your ultimate wish has been fulfilled. She is currently drowning in regret, desperately seeking atonement. If you desire it, you can still return to her side. Even if you spent decades in that realm, only a few minutes will have passed here. Do you wish to go back? I simply laughed. A laugh dripping with pure mockery. She didn't cherish me while I lived, so what use is her regret now that I'm gone? I rejected the offer flatly. There's no need. I only want to stay here with my family. The system tried to persuade me. Host, you could summon Lin Qingxue to this world, and force her to repent and grovel at your feet. Wouldn't that be the ultimate revenge? But I refused again, my voice like ice. To me, all of that is a past life best left forgotten. Never mention her name to me again. Seeing my unwavering resolve, the system finally yielded. I snapped back to reality, meeting my parents' glistening, heartbroken eyes. Though only a few seconds had ticked by, the look in my eyes was that of someone who had endured 1,000 hells, overflowing with exhaustion and deep-seated trauma. Just looking at me made my parents' hearts shatter. Basking in the warmth of their pure, selfless love, my eyes began to sting. It had been far too long since I felt this, so I decided to stop hiding the truth and laid everything bare before them. In the next heartbeat, my parents pulled me into a crushing embrace. My poor Chen, you've suffered so much. Why didn't that wretched system come find us instead? Dad, with his strangely practical logic, slapped his thigh. It should have made me and your mom the targets. We would have cleared it twice over and earned ourselves an extra wish. Mom nodded fervently. Exactly right. One to grant you perfect health, and another to ensure your absolute happiness. Listening to my parents bicker back and forth with love, I finally couldn't help but let out a genuine laugh. Right then, Dad grinned and gave my shoulder a reassuring pat. Our Chen is truly blessed by the heavens, since we've turned this disaster into a miracle. Let's kick things off by donating 200 million. Honey, what do you think? Sounds perfect. And at the charity auction in 2 days. Let's just buy everything to celebrate Chenchen's recovery. Mom clutched my hand tightly, her eyes shimmering with the relief of a survivor. This amount of money was a mere drop in the bucket for the colossal empire the Mu family now commanded. Over the following days, under the overwhelming doting of my parents, I slowly began to find my true self again. I decided to reclaim the dreams I had abandoned in my past life, picking up my pen to write screenplays once more. Within days, a breathtaking masterpiece centered on themes of redemption and rebirth was born from my fingertips. Next came the networking involved in building a team and casting. Dad beat his chest with the confidence of a tycoon. Chen. Just name any actor you want. Your old man will get them for you. I couldn't help but chuckle at his enthusiasm. Dad, truly talented actors treasure their reputation. They can't be swayed by money alone. Besides, I want to succeed on my own doing what I love. Just let me try. Dad immediately gave in and handed over the reins, insisting that I come home for help the moment I hit a snag. I then put together an initial list of candidates, all powerhouses with immense potential but low profiles, prioritizing raw talent over fame. The next morning, I headed straight to Starry Sky Entertainment to meet my top pick for the female lead and her manager. I never could have imagined. The moment I pushed open the conference room doors, the person sitting there wasn't some obscure actress at all. What greeted my eyes was the absolute queen of Starry Sky Entertainment, the legendary best actress Shen Yanchi. I sucked in a sharp breath, instinctively thinking I had stumbled onto the wrong set. I muttered a quick apology and turned to leave. However, Shen Yanchi stood up abruptly, striding directly toward me with purpose. Between her pale, slender fingertips, she was clutching the very screenplay I had written. I heard writer Mu is scouting for a leading lady. I'm captivated by this role. Would you consider my self-recommendation? I froze in my tracks instantly, my eyes widening with pure shock and delight. Before me was a face blessed by the gods themselves, flawless features radiating an aura of elegant coolness. Yet at this moment, those eyes were brimming with warmth, exuding a mesmerizing and lethal tenderness. If one were to ignore every other factor, Shen Yanchi was the undisputed ceiling level, the absolute pinnacle of a perfect female lead. Initially, I only intended to play it safe and steady, never daring to include such a superstar in my search. But now that the queen herself had extended an olive branch, I had absolutely no reason to turn her away. Ms. Wu Shen, welcome to the team. Shall we dive right into the script discussion? Shen Yanchi's smile was exceptionally gracious, as she readily agreed to my proposal. At that, I finally let out the breath I was holding. Rumors claimed that the best actress was an ice queen, but it seemed those were nothing but baseless myths. She was clearly incredibly approachable, with Shen Yanchi's golden reputation leading the charge. This small, budget web series was transformed into a star-studded event. After just 3 weeks of high-speed filming, the series launched and immediately dominated every chart, becoming the undisputed viral sensation of the year. I successfully broke through the industry noise, becoming the most sought-after screenwriter in the business. Despite the explosive fame, my mindset remained rock solid as I pivoted to begin drafting my second screenplay, this time before the script was even finished. An endless stream of actors eager for a role began lining up at my door. I was suddenly spread incredibly thin. Even after hiring a personal assistant, the moment I stepped outside, I would still encounter the most ridiculous accidental meetings. Early one morning, while I was out for a routine jog, a rising starlet with a sultry figure suddenly collapsed right in my path. Writer Mu, what a coincidence. I think I've sprained my ankle. Could you please lend me a hand? Before the words could even settle, a slender figure streaked past like a bolt of lightning, reaching out to hoist the starlet up by her arm. Shen Yanchi's gaze was sharp and piercing, a cold smirk dancing on her lips. If you need a hand, don't bother my boyfriend, I'll help you myself. The starlet's face instantly flushed a deep crimson. Her sprain vanished in a heartbeat, and she bolted away faster than a frightened rabbit. I coughed awkwardly, thanks for the save. Shen Yanchi and I weren't actually a couple. She was clearly just doing me a quick favor. After all, since we started our collaboration, she had been nothing but kind, gentle, and patient. Being around her was incredibly soothing. To my surprise, Shen Yanchi just gave a playful, composed smile. Protecting my fiancé is simply my duty. I was stunned. When on earth did I become her fiancé? Following Shen Yanchi's suggestion, we headed back to the Mu family estate. My parents started stammering and acting shifty, yet they couldn't hide the pure joy radiating from their faces. The Shen family were our neighbors when you were kids. You two were practically inseparable. In a moment of excitement, we went ahead and arranged a childhood betrothal. Then the Shens moved abroad, knowing you young people prefer modern romance. We decided to keep the arrangement a secret for a while. Vague memories suddenly came flooding back. I really did have a childhood playmate who was as delicate and adorable as a Barbie doll. I never imagined that girl would grow up to be Shen Yanchi. Looking closely at her now, the contours of her features still held that familiar charm. Only now they had fully matured. transforming from mere cuteness into breathtaking lethal beauty. Dad added tentatively, "Now that the cat is out of the bag." Mom immediately interjected, "What do you mean, cat out of the bag?" This is destiny finally coming together. Why don't you two give it some serious thought? I was left speechless. Destiny or not, this was all moving way too fast. Shen Yuchu and I were strictly professional. But right then, Shen Yuchu's expression turned solemn and sincere, her voice ringing with conviction. "Uncle, Auntie, Chen only just found out about the engagement. But if you'll give me your blessing, I want to officially pursue him." "You're being too modest, Yuchu, do as you please." My parents defected to her side in a heartbeat, even pressuring me saying, "You can't let the girl do all the work. Chen, you need to step up your game too." Watching my parents offer their one-sided support, and seeing the absolute resolve in Shen Yuchu's eyes, only one burning question came to my mind. "When you decided to star in my web series, what was the real reason behind it?" Shen Yuchu's expression turned remarkably serious. "I was without a doubt completely captivated by your genius." Thinking back on her profound grasp of the script, and how she embodied the character so flawlessly, I chose to believe her words. Having secured the green light from my family, Shen Yuchu instantly switched into full romance mode, acting as if she wanted the entire world to witness her love. I couldn't help but recall how, despite being married to Lin Qingshui for 5 long years, our relationship was kept a dark secret from the public. It turns out someone who truly treasures you will be dying to stand beside you in the light of day. Shen Yuchu's raw and honest affection gradually began to melt the ice around my heart. And so, I decided to lay everything bare regarding my experiences in that other world, since she treated me with such sincerity. I had no reason to hide my scarred past. Even if she had been put off by it, it would have been understandable. Yet Shen Yuchu didn't show that hint of judgment. Her eyes were filled only with agonizing sympathy. She was heartbroken that during my darkest, most painful days, she wasn't there to hold my hand. "Thankfully, we still have the future. Will you give me the chance to stay by your side forever?" I gave her a heartfelt smile. "I will." I placed my hand firmly into Shen Yuchu's palm, gripping it tight. From this moment onward, the world had gained someone who loved me with her entire soul. Beyond that, we were a match made in heaven professionally as well. Every series we collaborated on became an instant viral hit, and our first feature film together achieved staggering record-breaking success. I realized then that a healthy relationship is about synergy. It's about growing stronger together. At the film's massive celebration banquet, Shen Yuchu actually proposed to me in front of everyone, and with a beaming smile, I said yes. That day, the trending searches were flooded with blessings for us. Our love was finally out in the open, sweet, radiant, and unapologetic. But just as our families were in the heat of wedding preparations, the long silent system suddenly resurfaced. Host Lin Qingshui has actually developed a way to communicate with me. She's demanding your return. Could you go back just once to make things clear? And finally make her give up hope. My gut reaction was an immediate hard refusal. The name Lin Qingshui felt like a ghost from a life lived a lifetime ago. I had zero desire to have any further entanglement with her. However, the system immediately presented 2 reasons that I found absolutely impossible to ignore. First, it was only because Lin Qingshui's affection reached the 100% mark that my wish was granted, giving me this healthy body. This karmic debt had to be settled, or it would eventually sabotage the life I have now. Second, the system actually began to plead with me. It claimed that if I didn't return, a humiliated and enraged Lin Qingshui might actually find a way to destroy the system entirely. I kept nothing hidden, laying the entire situation bare to my parents and Shen Yuchu, and voiced my resolve. I've thought it through. Logically and emotionally, I should face her one last time. To my surprise, my family refused to let me go back into that lion's den alone. They actually insisted on coming along with me. The system naturally balked at the idea initially, but it couldn't resist the sheer value they offered. Using their immense influence, they unlocked a brand new feature that allowed all 4 of us to bring everything from our current reality straight into Lin Qingshui's world. This time, they would be right by my side. Lin Qingshui wouldn't be able to lay a finger on me. Meanwhile, in that other world, Qingshui, can you please pull yourself together? All you do lately is pour money into researching some imaginary system. If this continues, the family empire won't survive your obsession. Lin's parents pleaded with her, their voices full of desperation. They slammed a wedding invitation down in front of Lin Qingshui. The Mu and Shen families who grew their empires abroad are returning home to wed and sent us this invite. Go and make some powerful connections with them. But Lin Qingshui merely shot a dead, hollow look at the card. However, in the very next second, her previously vacant and expressionless face erupted with a sudden sharp flicker of rage. The groom's name is Mu Xingchen. Unacceptable. He shares a name with my husband. Tell him to change it immediately. He isn't worthy of that name. Her father scoffed in sheer disbelief. He isn't worthy. Then who is? The man is the sole heir to the prestigious Mu conglomerate. If you were lucky enough to marry into a family like that, you'd wake up laughing from your own dreams. Too bad you threw your luck away on a nobody. Yet Lin Qingshui remained unshakably stubborn. No one can ever compare to my husband. Her parents were near a breaking point. Both were named Mu Xingchen. But the one she loved was a total embarrassment with zero status. Even in death, he had her under some demonic spell, dragging their massive family fortune toward utter ruin. Lin Tingshe, I don't care what delusions you're having. Bottom line, you are going to that wedding. Her father bellowed, issuing a stern and final ultimatum. But Lin Qingshui acted as if she were stone deaf. She carelessly tossed the invitation aside like literal trash. Her mind was consumed by a single obsessive thought, waiting for the system to bring her Mu Xingchen back to life. Meanwhile, having stepped back into this world once again, the presence of my family and Shen Youchu acted as a shield against my rising anxiety. Shen Youchu accompanied me on a hike up the mountain. We felt the cool breeze at the summit together, watching the sunset while chatting and laughing on the way down. Just at that moment, Assistant Wang, who had been offering incense halfway up the peak, took only a few steps forward, before freezing in absolute bone-chilling terror. He saw Mu Xingchen, the very same Mu Xingchen he had indirectly sent to his grave. Ever since that day, he had been haunted by nightmares of a blood-soaked Mu Xingchen demanding to know why. That was why he spent his days praying and worshipping, begging that the ghost of Mu Xingchen wouldn't claim his life. He never imagined in a million years that he would ever lay eyes on a living, breathing Mu Xingchen again. Assistant Wang's eyes bulged in utter disbelief. But no matter how many times he blinked, that man was Mu Xingchen. He even overheard the woman beside him softly calling out, "Chen." There's no way it was just a coincidence. The identical face, the matching name, it was him. It wasn't until Shen Yuchu and I vanished from sight that Assistant Wang realized his legs had turned to jelly. He stumbled back home in a state of sheer panic, only to be haunted by a relentless string of nightmares. After agonizing over it for hours, he finally decided to drop the bombshell on Lin Qingshui. You're telling me you saw someone who looks exactly like Xingchen, and the people with him were calling him Chen? Lin Qingshui's heart nearly leaped out of her chest. In a flash of realization, she remembered that invitation. Could it be that her Xingchen had truly returned to her? The moment the thought took root, an uncontrollable, searing hope began to burn in her soul. The wedding was a week away, but Lin Qingshui couldn't wait another second. Without hesitation, she bolted toward the Mu family villa. She had to confirm the truth right now. Meanwhile, inside the Mu residence, the atmosphere was blissfully warm and domestic. My father was currently ranting with protective fury. That brat from the Lin family, the way she dared to torment our Chen. She better hope she never crosses our path, or I'll give her a piece of my mind she won't forget. Mom nodded fervently in agreement. Exactly. We have to settle the score for Chen, no matter what. Shen Youchu and I sat together, hands intertwined, long since used to their chaotic but loving protective streaks. However, the sudden arrival of Lin Qingshui instantly shattered the cheerful mood. She followed the servant through the door, and the moment she saw the silhouette she'd been yearning for, her eyes flooded with uncontrollable tears. She cried out in a voice choked with emotion, "Xingchen, you finally come back to me." But in the very next heartbeat, her gaze fell upon our tightly locked hands. Let go of Xingchen. He is my husband. Unload him, Lin Qingshui's eyes burned with toxic jealousy, as she let out a guttural, enraged scream. My parents, already simmering with resentment, found their patience snapping completely. They both lunged forward. How dare you harass our Chen? You've got a lot of nerve showing your face here. Lin Qingshui froze in total shock. Once she realized who they were, she didn't even try to dodge. Instead, she wore a look of utter humility, offering her cheek like a martyr. Father, mother, everything was my fault. I am drowning in profound regret. Hit me as much as you want. Just help me convince Xingchen to come back once your rage subsides. I swear I'll treat him 10 times better from now on. Seeing her practically beg for a beating, my parents didn't hold back, finally venting the toxic resentment they'd held for so long. Staring at her bruised and swollen face, they spat out with satisfaction, "Don't you dare call us that. Shut your mouth. Our Chen is getting married soon, and the bride definitely isn't you." A flicker of agonizing pain shot through Lin Qingshui's eyes. She had struggled for so long to find him. She wasn't about to back down over a little physical pain. Swallowing her bitterness, she turned to me with a gaze overflowing with obsession. "Xingchen, go. I know I've caused you immeasurable pain, but you must know by now, I truly deeply love you. My devotion to you is absolute. It's at a full 100%. I only did those things because I was broken. Mu Xingyang's betrayal made me too terrified to trust love again. I only wanted to test your loyalty. But the second you left, I realized the truth. You had already healed my broken heart long ago. Xingchen, I'm begging for your forgiveness. Just give me one chance to make it right, please." He spoke with such raw, heart-wrenching sincerity. Yet I remained completely unfazed. No, my expression was cold and indifferent, my words cutting like a jagged blade. "Lin Qingshui, I wasn't the one who broke you. What gives you the right to hurt me and expect me to be your cure? Am I just some prescription for your trauma? Don't be so delusional." Lin Qingshui froze in absolute shock. The Mu Xingchen she knew was quiet and submissive, never capable of speaking to her with such biting venom. But the man before her was radiant and self-assured. He had changed, and that new spark only made her crave him more. No, that's not it. Lin Qingshui scrambled to explain. Xingchen, I just want you back so I can spend my life making it up to you. You love acting, right? I'll give you every top-tier resource in the industry. Choose any top-tier resources you want for your future projects. And that script I took from you, I'll buy you 100 better ones. She spoke with such raw, gut-wrenching sincerity. A debt is a debt, plain and simple. That was a screenplay I wrote with my own blood and sweat. There is no better version, and there is absolutely no substitute. Lin Qingshui panicked. Then I'll return the script to you. I've already read every word. It's overflowing with your devotion to me. I knew you still harbored deep feelings for me. That was in the past. I cut her off ruthlessly. If I want a script, I'll write a new one myself. If it weren't for the system's mission, I wouldn't waste a single breath speaking to you. Seeing that I remained completely unmoved, despite her lowering herself to such a pathetic degree. The habitually arrogant Lin Qingshui finally saw her patience snap. Xingchen saw. I admit I was wrong. I'm here apologizing and trying to make amends. But what about you? Are you truly blameless? I'm not even holding your past against you. So why are you so hell-bent on denying me a chance? I was momentarily stunned by her audacity. What exactly did I do wrong? At that, Lin Qingshui pointed at me, trembling with rage. You were jealous of Mu Xingyang. You pushed him and even tried to arrange for men to humiliate him. Don't tell me those actions weren't crossing the line. She then assumed the martyr-like pose of a tragic lover. You just walked away from it all, leaving me to clean up your disgusting mess. I've been atoning for your sins. After everything I've sacrificed for you, how can you not feel even a shred of gratitude? Her self-righteous accusations were so absurd that I couldn't help but find them hilarious. Before I could even open my mouth, my parents were already exploding with fury. You brat. Our Chen would never stoop to such vile behavior. You don't even have a shred of basic trust in him. You're not even worthy of uttering the word love. Feeling the unconditional support of my family, my heart was instantly flooded with warmth. I turned a chilling, sharp gaze back toward Lin Qingshui. I never did a single thing to harm Mu Xingyang. He was the one who framed me, and that man was his accomplice from the start. Whether you believe that or not is your problem. Staring at my calm and unflinching expression, Lin Qingshui froze in her tracks. Instinct whispered to her that I was telling the absolute truth, as she replayed her own toxic accusations in her mind. A cold wave of panic began to crawl up her spine. She pledged with desperate urgency, I believe you, Xingchen. The vermin who dared to harm you, I will make them pay a price beyond their worst nightmares. With that, she beat a hasty retreat. However, Lin Qingshui never could have imagined that the unearthed truth was far more brutal than she expected. Mu Xingyang had conspired with her personal assistant long ago. Every single word I uttered was the stone-cold truth. What was even more terrifying was that Mu Xingyang had actually ordered that man, that if I didn't plummet from that building, I was to be tortured and humiliated until I broke. The next day, Mu Xingyang was dragged in by bodyguards. Lin Qingshui gripped his jaw with bone-crushing force. Since you enjoy such filthy, depraved drama so much, you can go ahead and star in one yourself. She ruthlessly locked him in a room with the bodyguards. That evening, Mu Xingyang emerged from the room limping and broken. Lin Qingshui immediately delivered a brutal kick, forcing him to kneel on a floor covered in jagged porcelain shards. Every ounce of agony Xingchen endured back then. She intended to make Mu Xingyang suffer tenfold. Mu's parents tried to intervene and stop the carnage, but Lin Qingshui merely let out a chilling sneer. Speaking of which, you two also tormented and betrayed Xingchen. I haven't even settled my score with you yet. The two of them instantly fell silent in terror, exchanging a panicked, shifty glance, before scurrying away like cornered rats, just as Mu Xingyang was being decimated. His parents caught wind of the fact that I was still alive. They charged straight into the Mu family estate, shouting "son" with a sickeningly sweet display of affection. My real parents were livid. This was clearly their boy. I sneered coldly. You certainly weren't this loving before. Is it because Mu Xingyang is finally a lost cause that you've suddenly remembered I exist? Unexpectedly, they flatly denied it with straight faces. No, we've always cherished you deep down. We were just being a little strict for your own good. Besides, Lin Qingshui is threatening to destroy us. You're the only one who can stop her madness. So that was it. They only came crawling back to save their own pathetic skins. I'm curious. Why exactly did you treat me like trash before? I asked that question on behalf of my original self. It was only as I plummeted from that building that I remembered. This pair of biological parents initially treated both me and Mu Xingyang with total equality. But after returning from a single trip away, their entire demeanor shifted overnight. From then on, they showered only Mu Xingyang with love, while treating the original host with escalating cruelty. When Mu Xingyang eventually moved abroad, they actually branded the original host a jinx, locking him away for 3 days without a drop of water. Mu's parents hesitated for a fleeting moment, finally confessing we were simply backed into a corner. When you were just a toddler, a master told us you were cursed with a short life. and that you'd eventually drag the whole family down? He said Xingyang was the lucky one meant to prosper. I was stunned. To think the root of all that suffering was such a pathetic, absurd reason. Xingchen, we really had no choice. Can you ever find it in your heart to forgive us? We promised to make it up to you 1,000 times over. But these grand solemn vows of theirs sounded like nothing more than a bad joke to my ears. The biological son they truly owed a debt to had already perished long ago. No one has a right to grant forgiveness on his behalf. I had zero desire to help such selfish, cold-blooded people. If Lin Qingshui wanted to destroy them, then let her. They owed the original host far too much. Facing a hellish punishment was simply divine justice. True to form, once Lin Qingshui had vented her rage, she immediately ordered that Mu Xingyang, both of Mu's parents and even Assistant Wang, be thrown into prison. She even pulled a few strings behind the scenes to ensure their lives behind bars would be a living nightmare. Assistant Wang begged for mercy until his voice went hoarse. President Lin, I've served you faithfully for so many years. Please just show me mercy this one time. But Lin Qingshui's gaze remained a frozen void. I've told you, those who commit sins must face the reckoning. Unexpectedly, Assistant Wang completely snapped under the pressure. Sins must face the reckoning. But President Lin, if you hadn't constantly shielded Mu Xingyang and treated your own husband like literal trash, would I have ever picked the wrong side? You say we're the villains here, but are you truly innocent? You deserve to rot in a cell just as much as us. Assistant Wang was dragged away in a state of total hysteria, but his words pierced through her like jagged needles, stabbing straight into Lin Qingshui's soul. He was right. All the agony I had endured. She was undeniably responsible for every second of it. She was the ultimate accomplice in my tragedy, and now her karma had finally arrived. I had fallen for someone else. Shen Yanchi and I were a perfect match, and her family's power dwarfed the Lin Empire in every way. She desperately wanted to interfere, but she was utterly powerless. After being ruthlessly rejected time and time again, the light in Lin Qingshui's eyes grew increasingly frigid. She couldn't accept this reality. She was the one who had sacrificed so much, just to drag me back into this existence. A sinister, twisted thought began to take root in her mind. If she couldn't have me, then she would make damn sure no one else could either. The day of my wedding to Shen Yanchi arrived in a flash. According to our original plan, once we officially tied the knot, Lin Qingshui would finally be forced to give up her ghost. But right at the crucial moment, the system's alarm bells began to shriek in my head. Host Lin Qingshui is undergoing a dark awakening. She's developed a virus to hack the system structure. She intends to delete this entire world. It's game over. I'm about to be completely wiped out. I need to warp you and your family back home right now. Precisely at that chaotic second, a servant hurried in with a report. Lin Qingshui was waiting outside demanding one final audience. I told the system to hold its breath for a moment. I needed to try one last thing. After comforting my anxious family, I walked out to face her alone. Upon seeing me, Lin Qingshui's eyes sparked with desperate hope. Xingchen, you're actually willing to see me on your wedding day. That means I still have a shot, doesn't it? She had already made her ultimatum. This was her final attempt at reconciliation. If I dared to reject her again, she would force the entire world to serve as a funeral pyre for their love. I offered no immediate answer, only asking a single composed question. After being together for so many years, do you honestly believe I owe you anything at all? Lin Qingshui paused to reflect, slowly shaking her head. No. She recalled the way I used to look at her, the sheer devotion that once shimmered in my eyes. She recalled the countless times I swallowed my pride, and the endless times I chose to compromise for her. I never owed her a single thing. I had once loved her with an absolute selfless devotion. Seeing Lin Qingshui overwhelmed with a sudden wave of emotion, I pressed further. Then what about you regarding me? Do you feel any sense of debt? Lin Qingshui's eyes were finally filled with genuine crushing guilt. Her voice trembled as she forced out a single word, yes. And I will make it up to you, Lin Qingshui added with desperate urgency. But I looked her dead in the eye, maintaining a steady gaze, and offered a faint, gentle smile. If you truly want to atone, then just let me go. Lin Qingshui instinctively shook her head. I can't. Xingchen, I love you. I'll never let you go. But my tone remained soft-laced with a sincere plea. If you truly love someone, you should only wish for their happiness. I continued, my voice calm but firm. Once I believed your heart belonged to Mu Xingyang, so I never retaliated for the agony you put me through. I chose to walk away simply to let you two be happy. Now I have finally found my own piece of heaven, and it's your turn to step back and let me have it. Lin Qingshui let go. Letting go is the only way you can ever truly repay me. My words flowed like a gentle stream, yet they struck Lin Qingshui's heart with the force of a tidal wave. It was as if her very soul had been hollowed out. I didn't rush her. I simply waited in the heavy silence. This reminded her of the nights she used to return late from work. I never nagged or pressured her back then, always leaving a light on and a warm bowl of soup waiting. I was doing the exact same thing now, except this time I was waiting for her to release me. Lin Qingshui was terrified of losing me, but as she gazed into my clear eyes filled with quiet expectation, The dark resolve at the bottom of her heart vanished into thin air, leaving her powerless. She suddenly realized she wasn't as heartless as she thought. She truly couldn't bring herself to hurt me ever again. A voice began to echo relentlessly in her mind. You've owed him for so long. You've made him wait so many times. Don't let him down this one last time. A wave of unspeakable bitterness surged through her soul. Lin Jingxuo finally understood the crushing truth. Some people once lost can never be brought back. At long last, she choked out a single word, okay. I won't offer you my blessings, but I will let you go. Hearing those words, I felt a weight lift. Thank you. To my surprise, Lin Jingxuo actually attended my wedding in an act of pure masochism. As she watched me standing there in my tuxedo, it finally dawned on her that back when we were married, she had cheated me out of a proper wedding. Only now did she realize just how dazzling and handsome I could be. I knew what she was thinking. That the old me would have been dying to announce our union to the world, to let everyone know that I was her husband. If she had only done that back then, would our story have ended differently? Regrettably, it was far too late for what-ifs. As Shen Yanchi and I exchanged our rings and shared our first kiss as a married couple, Lin Jingxuo squeezed her eyes shut in agony, feeling her heart shatter into a million jagged pieces. However, when she finally opened her eyes again, the entire scene vanished into thin air in an instant. The grand venue had transformed back into a desolate, undeveloped wasteland. Just as I was about to depart, the system informed me that because I had stabilized this world, I was entitled to one final wish. I paused to reflect for a moment, then said solemnly, I wish for the Musing Chen of this world to be reborn into a family where both parents will love and cherish him unconditionally, so he can live a life of true unbridled happiness. The system hummed in response, and a tiny warm spark of light manifested before me. The system translated immediately, the original host is thanking you. I smiled softly and replied, you're very welcome. It's a good ending, even though we will no longer share the same world. We are both headed toward a beautiful, bright future. On the other side of reality, Lin Jingxuo returned to her home looking like a hollowed-out ghost. She was reaching for her winter clothes to brace for the cold, only to realize the room's temperature had returned to normal. Her heart constricted with a sudden sharp dread. She sprinted toward the spot where the ice coffin usually sat, but the space was completely empty. She collapsed to the floor, her soul seemingly departed. In that devastating moment, the reality finally sank in. He was gone, and she had lost him forever. In the days that followed, Lin Jingxuo had buried herself in work like a relentless machine, quickly steering the Lin group back onto a path of dominance. Yet every single night, she was devoured by a relentless longing, trapped in a cycle of agonizing despair. Unable to endure the void any longer, she contacted the system once more. Yet every single night, she was devoured by a relentless longing, trapped in a cycle of agonizing despair. Unable to endure the void any longer, she contacted the system once more. I need to see him. I'll surrender my entire fortune, every last cent, if you'll just let me cross over into his world. She pleaded with utter humility, I'm begging you. I swear I won't disturb his life. Just catching a single glimpse of him would be enough. However, the system regretfully informed her, I'm truly sorry. Musing Chen is my true host, and he has no desire for you to be there. Lin Jingxuo refused to give up, relentlessly imploring the system to find some kind of loophole. Finally, the system reluctantly conceded and told her, there is one remaining way. If you are dead set on entering a foreign world, you can only exist there in a non-human form. The system assumed she would shrink back from such a price. Instead, her hollow, lifeless eyes suddenly erupted with terrifying brilliance. I'll do it, I'm willing. Please send me there, immediately, thus while enjoying my post-wedding life. As Shen Yanchi and I were strolling along the beach, we discovered something. Washed up on the shore, a tiny gasping puppy near death. I scooped the little creature up instantly. Under our care, the puppy made a miraculous recovery, becoming my permanent little shadow from that day on. As long as it was by my side, it seemed perfectly content, tilting its head with the most adorable, wide-eyed grin. The dog and I became practically inseparable, except for whenever I started to change my clothes. It would immediately whip its head away, covering its eyes with its tiny paws. I couldn't help but chuckle at its behavior, even feeling as though it possessed a human soul. I thought this companion would be with me for years, but not long after, during a late-night shoot, while we were filming a scene on a busy street, an object plummeted from a great height above. In the split second before I was crushed, the puppy lunged with all its might, shoving me aside, only to be brutally mangled in my place, as its life force began to drain away. Through a haze of fading consciousness, Lin Jingxuo heard the system's voice echo in her ears. You have neutralized the final catastrophe in Musing Chen's fate. From this day forth, his path will be nothing but smooth sailing. Lin Jingxuo lay there drenched in her own blood, the agony nearly unbearable. Yet her heart was overflowing with an incredible sense of peace. Last time she had failed to save me, forced to watch helplessly as I plummeted to my death. Thank God this time she arrived just in time. Before her consciousness finally slipped away, she felt a warm dampness against her cheek, summoning the very last of her strength to open her eyes. She realized it was a tear I had shed for her. She forced herself to endure the pain, just as she had done countless times in the past, flashing a radiantly healing smile, to have been able to stay by my side, to have protected me with her life, and to have finally earned a tear of genuine grief from me. Her entire existence felt worth it at last. Lin Qingshuo closed her eyes, utterly satisfied, though she would never again gaze upon a sky full of stars. The most precious Jingchen in her life would live on in safety and peace, and for her, that was the ultimate tranquility. Dearest fans, this concludes the grand finale of Falling Stars on the Other Shore. Thank you all so much for your incredible support. We'll see you in the next episode.